The rain hammered against the tin roof, a relentless drumbeat accompanying Alara's weary sigh. Her small shack, perched precariously on the edge of the bustling market, was a haven from the storm, but an inadequate one against the biting cold. Her fingers, stained with the grime of 1,000 washed vegetables, ached with the chill. She had barely enough to buy a loaf of bread, let alone a warm meal. Just as she was about to surrender to despair, a flash of lightning illuminated the muddy street outside. A flash of gold. Alara, drawn by the glint, ventured out, her heart hammering against her ribs. The storm had washed away a large section of the road, revealing a rusted metal box half buried in the mud. Curiosity overcoming her fear, Alara pulled it free. The box, rusty and waterlogged, yielded a canvas bag. Alara's hand trembled as she untied the coarse twine. Inside, nestled in a bed of old velvet, lay a glittering treasure, dozens of diamonds, each one a perfect, breathtaking spark. The sight took her breath away. It was wealth beyond anything she had ever imagined, enough to secure her future, to build a life free from the constant struggle. But, as the diamonds shimmered under the dim light of a flickering lamp, a wave of anxiety washed over her. What if she was caught? What if someone was searching for them? Fear wrestled with hope. Her stomach churned. This was a chance, a lifeline, but also a potential abyss. That night, Alara slept with the bag beside her, clutched tightly in her hand. She dreamt of warm clothes, of a full table, of a life beyond the poverty she knew. But the fear lingered, a persistent shadow in the corners of her mind. Days turned into weeks. Alara kept the diamonds hidden, a secret treasure she guarded with every fiber of her being. She sold a few, carefully chosen, to a traveling merchant. Enough to buy food and some warm clothing. But the rest remained, a constant reminder of her precarious position. One day, a man arrived at the market, his eyes scanning the faces of the vendors. He was tall and well-dressed, his air of authority sending shivers down her spine. The moment he saw her, the fear she had been suppressing welled up in her chest. He was searching for the diamonds. Alara, in a desperate attempt to escape, fled into the storm, the bag of diamonds clutched tightly to her chest. The man pursued, his shouts swallowed by the wind and rain. She ran until her lungs burned, her legs gave way, and she collapsed in a heap, the bag beside her. The man stood over her, his face a mask of fury. He reached for the bag. But Alara, fueled by desperation, grabbed a rock and flung it at his outstretched hand. He stumbled back, his face contorted in pain. Alara, seizing the opportunity, ran. She didn't know where she was going. The storm, her only guide, pushed her forward. She ran until her vision blurred, her body screamed for rest. She woke up in a small cottage, a kind old woman tending to her wounds. The woman, a recluse, who lived on the outskirts of the city, had found Alara collapsed by the river. She had offered her shelter and warmth, a haven from the storm. As she recuperated, Alara felt a growing sense of peace. The fear had subsided, replaced by a new kind of courage. She had faced the storm, the man, and her own fears. She had discovered a strength she hadn't known she possessed. But the diamonds still weighed heavy on her conscience. It was a burden she couldn't bear. She told the old woman everything, confessing her fears and her hopes. The woman listened patiently, her eyes filled with understanding. Together, they decided to return the diamonds. The old woman, with her knowledge of the city's underbelly, helped Alara find the rightful owner. He was a wealthy merchant, grief-stricken over the loss of his precious stones. The man, overwhelmed with gratitude, offered Alara a reward, a small fortune in gold. But Alara refused. She had learned that true wealth wasn't measured in diamonds or gold, but in the strength of her own heart. She accepted only a small sum, enough to give her a fresh start. Alara left the city, the weight of the diamonds lifted from her shoulders. She found a small village nestled in the foothills, a place where the air was clean and the people were kind. She learned to make pottery, her hands finding a new kind of beauty in the clay. She found a sense of belonging, a peace she had never known before. The storm had washed away her fear, leaving behind a resilience and a heart overflowing with gratitude.